Mangwanani Mwalelepo Vukenjane, Klekbas Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Berry at the beginning of the week, Monday, 14 October. These are some of the stories that we're looking at today. Comoros to hold parliamentary elections in January 2025. Kenya, Zimbabwe, and Gambia are on the brink of abolishing the death penalty. Zambians struggle with electricity shortages driven by drought. Follow all of our programs on oneup2.com or DSTV 285 and GoTV 25 and Network Media Hub on YouTube. We'll also be crossing over to Talent Gore as she brings us the latest news stories from Zimbabwe. This is Africa Good Morning. Top stories shortly.
Neopaints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neopaints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neopaints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
We start off in South Africa, where Free State Premier McQueen Letosha Mataya and her husband Mangwang Metro Speaker Lawrence Mataya are in hot water after the alleged termination of a multi-million rand road tender exposed claims of corruption. Patrick Putti, the CEO of New Beginnings, sent WhatsApp messages to the couple asking why he was sidelined from a project after he gave them two luxury cars, a Mercedes-Benz V300D and a BMW 7 Series. He also claimed he has spent large amounts of money to help the premier hold events. Now, the messages started circulating this after the Department of Community Safety, Roads and Transport terminated a road contract won by his company. In the WhatsApp messages shared with the Citizen South Africa, which include proof of payment, Putti congratulates the Matayas on their new positions in the Free State government, but accuses them of bad treatment. The reason for my message is to try and find out why I got such bad treatment from you after I have supported the organization and the Mataya family with the project I got from the Department of Roads and Transport, Putti wrote in the messages. After so many transactions I made for the Mataya family, he also added. Moving on to our next story, Comoros will hold elections for its 33-seat parliament on January 12, 2025, according to a decree published on Saturday, although opposition parties have said they will boycott the poll. The Indian Ocean archipelago, with a population of about 800,000, last had parliamentary polls in January 2020. In January, incumbent President Azali Assoumani has re-elected for another 5-year term, but the opposition rejected the results, alleging instances of ballot stuffing of voting being ended before the official closing time. The government denied the claims. We are not ready to take part in legislative elections until we know what is going to happen. Salim Issa Abdillah, leader of the opposition Juba party, who stood against Assoumani in the last election, told Reuters. Now, Assoumani's opponents accuse him of authoritarian excesses and suspect him of wanting to prepare his eldest son, Noah Al-Fayed, to replace him in 2029 when his current term ends. Assoumani has been ruling Comoros since 1999 when he came into power through a coup. He has since won 3 elections. Now in our third story on Africa Good Morning, in recognition of World Day Against the Death Penalty, Amnesty International has called upon 3 sub-Saharan African countries on the verge of abolition to strike the death penalty from their law books once and for all and to pave the way for others. Kenya and Zimbabwe have both introduced a bill to abolish the death penalty for all crimes, while Gambia, which has made steady progress against this cruel punishment since 2017, is currently amending its constitution. It has been over a decade since Ghana, Kenya, and Zimbabwe executed a convicted person while commuting multiple death sentences. Now, the last execution recorded in Kenya occurred in 1987, even though there is no official moratorium on executions. The last execution in Zimbabwe occurred in 2005, though the courts continued to impose death sentences, while in the Gambia, 9 soldiers were executed by firing squad. This was in 2012. Less than half of Zambia's 20 million people had access to electricity before Kariba's problems. Millions more have now been forced to adjust as mothers find different ways to cook for their families and children do their homework by candlelight. Zambians are facing a daily struggle to find electricity during a climate-related energy crisis that's robbed the southern African country of almost all its power. Some Zambians are so exasperated that they've taken to lugging their entire desktop computer, hard drive, monitor, and everything to a local cafe so they can work. Zambia's worst electricity blackouts in memory have been caused by a severe drought in the region that has left the critical Kariba Dam, the source of Lake Musonda's walls, with insufficient water to run its hydroelectric turbines. Kariba is the largest man-made lake in the world by volume and lies 200 kilometers south of Lusaka on the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe. Months of drought brought by the naturally occurring El Nino weather pattern and exacerbated by warming temperatures have put Zambia's hydroelectric station on the brink of completely shutting down, and this will be for the very first time. And in the last of our top stories, election observers in Mozambique on Friday warned against irregularities after a vote expected to renew the ruling party's grip on power, with some in the opposition already claiming fraud. After a largely peaceful election on Wednesday, tensions were simmering in the southern African nation, though official results are not expected for another 2 weeks. Observers reported stacks of folded ballot papers in 10 counting processes followed, indicating possible ballot stuffing, the European Union's election observation mission to Mozambique said. Now, along with the US-funded International Republican Institute, also deployed in Mozambique, observers were critical of the context in which the vote took place. The ruling Frelimo party disproportionately benefited from the use of state resources, including vehicles and public servants, during the campaign, said an IRI statement. Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. As you know, we like to decentralize our news, making sure you get the latest from the countries surrounding us. So in the same breath, Talent Gore will join us after the break from Zimbabwe.
E-Ticket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
It's time for us to talk to Talent Gore as she brings us the news stories directly from Zimbabwe. Talent Wamkase.
Wamkase Africa.
All right. Now, Talent, Zimbabwe has confirmed 2 cases of mpox.
Yes, yesterday in the evening, the Health and Childcare Minister, Dr. Douglas Mombishura, confirmed that Zimbabwe had 2 cases of mpox. Apparently, one is in Harare, whilst the other one is in Beringwa. And the minister said that he said that the 2 cases were currently in isolation. He said that the patients were currently receiving treatment whilst they're at home and they are also in isolation. He indicated that both cases were stable and they had done contact tracing. Apparently, case number one, is an 11-year-old male child with a known history of having traveled to South Africa in August, and the other one is a 24-year-old male. So both of them, they have done the ministry has done contact tracing, and the people that they were in contact with, they are safe and fine. So right now Zimbabwe only has 2 cases of mpox, and the ministry and the government as a whole is advised that people should isolate, and if they do feel like they do have mpox, they have to go to the nearest clinic to ensure that everything is done in perfect condition. And they've said that they have heightened their surveillances, especially at border posts. So as of yesterday and as of now, Zimbabwe has confirmed 2 cases of mpox.
All right, we certainly hope that that can be contained, Talent. Now, basic goods are in limited supply after the ZiG, which is the freshly unveiled Zimbabwe currency's devaluation.
Yes, Information and Publicity and Broadcasting Services Minister has said that the devaluation of the ZiG last month has triggered shortages of bread, sugar, and other staples in its formerly regulated stores, suggesting that the country's latest efforts to stand up its local unit is still struggling. The minister said that right now most of the supermarkets that usually have these goods, they are not in full supply. There are shortages when it comes to bread, when it comes to sugar, and other staples. He indicated that this is attributable to the arbitrage as informal retail economics agents seek to capitalize on exchange rate differentials. Last month, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe devalued the ZiG coin, or rather the ZiG currency. So as of now, $1 is equal to 25 a ZiG, which is the Zimbabwean currency at the moment. So ever since that happened, we have seen that most of the goods, they are now in shortages, and things are now quite expensive. And you find out that people are now going to the informal sector to buy their basic goods. People are no longer going to the formal shops, because in the formal shops they have an exchange rate which is way above what people want, so they are going to the informal sector. So you find out that in most shops there are no more basic goods, or they are in short supply. So the government has said that they are going to ensure that most of the supermarkets have the basic goods. We're not really sure how they're going to ensure that most of the supermarkets have the basic goods, but the government has said that they are working flat out to ensure that most of the shops have the basic goods that the nation needs. But as of now,
All right, Talent, thank you very much for bringing us the news stories as they are from Zimbabwe. Let us swing over to the weather predictions before we come back with economic news.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
State-owned Botswana Oil Limited said it has declared its first dividend to its sole shareholder, this with representatives praising the speed at which the parastatal was already generating profits. Now, the 10 million pula dividend to the government was declared at an event to launch the 90% import mandate, and the citizen transporters recently buoyed by the declaration. And speaking on behalf of the shareholder, Minerals and Energy Minister Lefoko Moahi said the ministry was expecting larger dividends from Botswana Oil in future. As a ministry and on behalf of government, we are proud that the company is already generating profits that can be reinvested into infrastructure development. Let's swing over to economic indicators. Let's get into the sport news. In a breathtaking display of athletic prowess, Ruth Chepngetich of Kenya shattered the women's marathon world record during the Chicago Marathon on Sunday. She finished with an astonishing unofficial time of 2 hours, 9 minutes and 56 seconds, slashing nearly 2 minutes off the former record. By the halfway point, now Chepngetich had distanced herself from her rivals, powering through the final stretch to a roaring crowd, securing her third title in Chicago. Her remarkable achievement surpassed the previous record set by Ethiopia's Tigst Assefa in Berlin last year. Now, following Chepngetich, Ethiopia's Sutume Kebede finished 7 minutes and 36 seconds later, while Kenyan runner Irene Cheptai claimed third place. In tennis, world number one Jannik Sinner expressed his determination to remain focused amid ongoing doping allegations after he defeated Novak Djokovic 7-6, 6-3 to win the Shanghai Masters on Sunday. In August, the International Tennis Integrity Agency announced that Sinner had failed 2 drug tests in March, but was later cleared of any wrongdoing. This was by an independent tribunal. The tribunal accepted Sinner's assertion that the anabolic agent clostebol had entered his system through massages and therapy from a member of his support team. However, in September, the World Anti-Doping Agency announced plans to appeal the tribunal's ruling, seeking a potential 2-year period of ineligibility for Sinner. This news came just days before Sinner faced defeat against rival Carlos Alcaraz in the China Open final, with the US and Australian Open champion acknowledging the challenging situation he was in leading up to the Shanghai Masters. In football, England bounced back from a disheartening defeat to Greece with a commanding 3-1 victory over Finland at the Helsinki Olympic Stadium. Driven by goals from Jack Grealish, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Declan Rice, Grealish opened the scoring in the 18th minute, converting a clever reverse pass from Angel Gomez into the far corner, evading the reach of goalkeeper Lukas Hradecki. Now, Finland had opportunities to level the score but failed to capitalize. In the 74th minute, Alexander-Arnold extended England's lead with a stunning free kick from 20 yards that soared over the wall and into the top corner. Rice sealed the win 10 minutes later, finishing off a cross from substitute Ollie Watkins. Finland's Arttu Hoskonen netted a header from a corner in the 87th minute, but it proved to be mere consolation. Interim manager Lee Carsley made 6 changes to the squad following to the dismal 2-1 loss to Greece at Wembley for England, welcoming back captain Harry Kane from injury. He also reverted to a traditional formation after an ill-fated experiment without a main striker against the Greeks. Now, with this victory, England sits second in Group B2 with 9 points from 4 matches, tied with leaders Greece. We have a game in hand, while Finland remains at the bottom without any points. And we end in women's cricket. Australia secured their spot in the Women's T20 World Cup semi-finals with a narrow 9-run victory over India, leaving the latter anxious about their chances of making it to the Final Four. The defending champions have confirmed their position at the top of Group A after winning all 4 of their matches. However, India, currently in second place, needs New Zealand to lose to Pakistan on Monday and must maintain a favorable net run rate to advance. Chasing a target of 152 in front of a vibrant crowd in Sharjah, India started aggressively, thanks in part to captain Harmanpreet Kaur's commendable 54 runs of 47 balls. With 14 runs required from the final over, the tension mounted, yet Australia's Annabelle Sutherland held her composure, conceding just 4 runs and taking 3 wickets in that over to secure the win, despite being without their injured captain Alisa Healy. Those have been our sports stories on Africa Good Morning. Stay with us as we head into the highlights shortly.
E-Ticket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
Thank you for staying with Africa Good Morning throughout the broadcast. These are some of the highlights from the show. Don't forget, how as part of your plans, contractors' WhatsApp messages accuse Free State Premier of corruption. Comoros to hold parliamentary elections on January 12, 2025. Those have been our stories on Africa Good Morning. DSTV 285, GoTV 25, 1up2.com, and Network Media Hub on YouTube is precisely where you can find us. From me, Ashwin Bedi, and the Africa Good Morning team, Swera Jokanaka.